Happy New Year! It's 2021, y'all. Hi, guys. Buddy was crying because I was talking to you guys rather than to him. So I guess I'm just gonna have to hold him for a little bit while he doesn't cry. Okay, you ready to tell a story? Do you want me to tell a story or do you want to tell a story? Well, I think you better tell the story. Just so then I can listen, and while you're telling the story, I can keep an eye out for squirrels. I think that would be the best way to do it. Okay, buddy, I'll tell the story and you can listen, okay? Okay. Yeah, I've got a new story for you guys. It is all about Jesus when he was about 12 years old. We don't really tend to think about Jesus ever being 12 years old. He's either a tiny little baby or he's a grown person. But Jesus was 12 years old, just like I was 12 years old and you were or will be 12 years old. Happens to the best of us. What do you remember or what are you looking forward to the most about when you were or will be 12 years old? Pause the video, tell whoever you're watching with something you remember or something you're looking forward to about being 12 years old. 12 is a pretty important number in the Bible. There are 12 tribes of Israel. Jesus had 12 disciples. And in this story, like I said, Jesus is 12 years old. So there's a lot coming together at the number 12. Let's hear more about it in today's Bible story. Take it away, future Sarah.
The boy at the temple. Every year, Jesus' family traveled from their home in Nazareth to Jerusalem to celebrate the festival of Passover. Jesus loved going to the festival. He loved the crowds of people, he loved the noise and the bustle of activity, and he loved spending time in the temple. One year, when Jesus was 12, the festival began like any other. Joseph, Mary, and Jesus enjoyed the sights, sounds, and activities of the festival together. When the festival was over, Mary and Joseph joined others from Nazareth for the long walk home. But when the group stopped to camp at the end of the first day, Mary and Joseph could not find Jesus anywhere. Everyone thought he had been walking with someone else in the group. "Jesus!" yelled his parents. "Jesus, where are you?" Mary and Joseph were frantic. They quickly walked back to Jerusalem looking for him. They searched the city high and low for 3 whole days until they found Jesus in the temple. Mary and Joseph were surprised at what they saw. Jesus was in the temple, talking with teachers more than twice his age. He was just a boy, but he could talk about God with a room full of grown-ups. The teachers in the temple were impressed with what Jesus knew. Mary and Joseph were proud, but they were still a bit angry with Jesus. "Jesus, why weren't you with us? We have been looking all over for you," Mary and Joseph exclaimed. Jesus replied, "Why were you looking for me? Didn't you understand that I was in my Father's house?" Mary and Joseph didn't understand, but with that, they gathered their belongings and began the long walk back home.
If I were Mary or Joseph in that story, I would have been so nervous about Jesus. Where is my kiddo? He's gone. And then I run all the way back to a huge city, the biggest city I know of in Jerusalem, and I can't find him anywhere. And then finally I go to the temple, the last place I haven't looked yet, and there he is, talking like he is any other person with some of the teachers in the temple. He's 12 years old. I imagine Mary and Joseph were probably pretty relieved when they finally found their son. But Jesus, I don't think he was that worried. You see, at the age of 12, you're almost an adult back then. Doesn't feel like it now so much. We tend to think maybe 18, maybe 20, 21, then you're an adult. But back in Jesus's time, 12, you're pretty close. So close that Jesus is starting to get a sense of what he is meant to be doing, what God has called him to do. You see, he already thinks of God as his father, so where else would he be than at his father's house, which is the temple? Jesus is already learning to listen to what God is trying to tell him about his life. He's already acting like he is an adult off doing what he is meant to be doing for the rest of his life, which is to talk to people about God. So while Mary and Joseph may have been pretty upset at him for not being with them the whole time, I bet when he said with no anger or worry, "I was here. Why are you so upset? I was here. This is where I'm meant to be." It might have been pretty hard for them to argue with him. Jesus felt that he was being called to be in the temple at that time and just stay there and teach and listen and talk to the teachers at the temple. That was where he was meant to be. I wonder if you've ever felt like like a place or when you're talking to a certain person, that is exactly where you were meant to be. When everything just felt perfectly right, like you knew what was expected of you, you were so happy to be doing what you were doing, where you were doing it. You just felt like this is where God has meant for me to be right now. You know where I think God is calling me to be right now? It's talking to you. It's right here, right now in this video. That's what I think God wants me to be doing right now. So it's a good thing I'm doing that. Even if other people don't quite understand why you feel like you're called to be doing what you were doing, where you were doing it, it's important to tell them that this is what you feel you're meant to be doing. This is where you're meant to be. You may only be 12 years old, but you kind of already have a good sense of what God might be calling you to do. Now, we shouldn't always be worrying the adults in our life with just disappearing out of nowhere, and then when they find us being like, hey, I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, because we aren't all Jesus. I know that's crazy to say, but it's true. We can't all just go off and not tell anybody, and then when they find us, just be like, guys, what are you so worried about? What we can do is when we feel called to do something, we can share it with people and let them know that this is what we feel really works for us, really makes us feel awesome and like we are exactly where God wants us to be. And don't be too worried about what other people might say. If you're doing something that God truly has called you to do, and you are surrounded by the love of God, and you're just sharing the love of God and the word and doing everything that you were doing, and it feels like God is just flowing through you all the time, then you're probably doing what God is wanting you to do. Remember those two big promises that Jesus tells us we should live by, which is to love the Lord our God with all our heart and all our soul, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. If you're doing those two things, you're probably in a pretty good situation. Well, buddy, what did you think of the story? Did you like it? Oh, you did? Okay, I think Buddy liked the story this week. So that's today's message. Even a 12-year-old can have a sense of where they are called to be. So next time you find yourself really feeling like God is just flowing all sorts of through you, and that you are doing things that let you love God with all your heart and all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself, you feel like you're doing both of those things, and you're in the perfect place, and everything feels amazing, then guess what? You are exactly where God wants you to be. Okay, buddy, do you want to say goodbye to everybody, or should I? Oh, I should? Okay, I will. Bye, guys.